Hello class, this is Michael Rhodes with my second video on attributes and data types. Today we're going to be going into SQL Server Management Studio to look at how data types can be used in creating tables. So let's go right in. So as you can see on the screen right now, we're in SQL Server. I started a new query and we're going to create a table. So create table. Oops, sorry. We're going to call this NFL. So to start, we're going to get a player ID, and this is going to be our primary key. It's going to be the number that basically represents the row in the line and the player. So we're going to put this as int, as we don't really need to reserve any spots, so this would be more like the double precision in this case, or the float precision, where it can have any number, almost any number of decimals up to like a large place, but it's just useful for storing a lot of data. And we're going to put it as our not null first, so there can't be null values in there, and then we're going to make it our primary key. So then after that, we could maybe put in the first name of our player, and this we could do maybe as a character. So actually let's do varchar. So what this will do is it'll automatically shrink down the name to a certain size instead of leaving empty spaces. So this will mean it takes up less space because there can be a lot of different first names. So we'll just do varchar, we'll do 255 just as the max, as I'm not really too worried about space for now. And varchar is really good at limiting space. So let's go on to the last name. And for this one, we're just going to use the normal char. And I'm going to put it at 30 places because I doubt that any last names are going to be more than 30 characters, and it'll help sort through them when we go to search for the last names, as most people would search players by their last name. Then after that, we could maybe do team they play for. Actually, let me do this on another line down here. Team they play for, and this again, we could probably do varchar for this, just because there won't be too many teams, so it should be still relatively quickly to sort through them. And again, varchar and char allow numbers, so even if there's a team like San Francisco 49ers, you can still enter that into the data type. Then maybe we could do, we could even do like maybe the jersey number, or like a bunch of different stats, but we could maybe do salary. And for this, we're gonna do salary. We're not salary. We're gonna do decimal, and this will be really good for currency. So we'll do 19 and 4. So as I said in my last video, that means there's going to be 19 places in front of the decimal and then 4 behind it. And that's really useful because it'll take up less space, it'll be predefined. And this is what you want to use for money. Usually the fixed category of decimals is very useful for money. Then after that, maybe we could go to married. And this would be maybe, for yes or no, and we're going to use the type byte. So this is a Boolean type. So this is going to have a 1 or a 0 in it. And this is for kind of true, false, yes or no questions. So that should be pretty easy to enter. And then from here, we could maybe go on to a bunch of, again, you could toss in a bunch of different stats or statistics in there. What we could do is we could even put a coaches table in there, so we could do coach. And then we could do, again, we'd probably do varchar because there'd probably be tons of different names for coaches. 255 again because we're not too worried about space. And then we would basically just leave that as it is for the coach name. But then maybe if we wanted like a foreign key, we could link it to another table where the coaches are. So we could maybe do coach ID and we probably do int again just for the numbers, because this would reference a primary key of a different table, and of course not null, because we don't want any not applicables in there. And then we'll just write foreign key, and then references. And then if I had, say, the coach table, it'd be coach. Sorry, let me change this over for a second. It'd be coach, and then coach ID. And again, this is if you had like a coach table you wanted to reference in there. Other than that, you could always do a bunch of different ones with integer or varchar, but we could even maybe do a description of the player, and this could be used for maybe your thoughts on the player, whether they'd be good as a fantasy pick, or what you like about them, or what you think their future is. And we could do this as text. So this would mean that you could just write as much as you want in there, and the SQL wouldn't really look at it unless you used XML format. And then finally, we could maybe even put in a column for a picture of them. So we could maybe do picture, and then we would do image as the data type. So when we create this, I'm not going to include the coach ID because I haven't made that table. But when we make this, it should work. Yep, it was created successfully. And then on the right here, we can look at the All-State one is where I created, which is kind of a mistake. But as you can see right here, it's in the NFL table. And there you have all the columns right there: first name, last name, team, married, picture, description. It's all there. So these are just the applications of it. If you want to know more, there's a bunch of videos on what kind of other types you should use, and I have another video before this that you should check out about what these actually mean and what they are in relation to each other, and why you should use them more in depth. But that's all I'm going to talk about for today. So thank you for joining me. And again, this is Michael Rhodes, and thank you for your time.